Okay. Hopefully people can hear. Pardon me a moment. Okay. Trying something a little different with this stream. I throw some live ink. Make sure we are in frame. And hopefully it'll stay more or less in focus. Let me see if I can. No, that's not helping. Okay. This is going to have to do. I'm not going to Comic-Con this time, but I am doing sketches. I am making stuff. Didn't really announce this. Just kind of a spur of the moment sort of deal here in the new studio. I'm going to start with this one because it's a little more straightforward. And I think that rather than using the Kuretaka brush pen, I'm going to go with the Pentel brush pen. This is artwork by R.D. Brown, by the way. At least I think. My apologies if I've screwed that up. Right now what I'm doing is I'm just blocking off solid black areas. And once I've got them blocked off, I'm just going to go ahead and black them in. Because Pentel brush pen, generally speaking, stays pretty juicy, although I'm really taxing it at the moment. As soon as I say that, I haven't checked this thing in forever. See, okay, so I do have ink. All right, just making sure. Anyway, I've got that blocked off. I'll come back in with a brush and some real ink and spot that. Meanwhile, back to blocking stuff off. I'm getting caught up in doing details. I usually don't ink stuff like that with a brush, but sometimes you just use whatever tools in your hand and go after whatever area interests you. Is that J. Jonah? No, it's not J. Jonah Jameson. Roland Katsu Raji. I am screwing up your name. I am so sorry. I'll just call you Roland. How about that? Sandra Hope's still inking with brushes. This is I think this has got the Pentel brush pen ink in it. The other one I use has platinum carbon ink in it, just because those are the cartridges that I can get to fit it, and it's pretty good. It doesn't bother me. I'm good with it. I have ink stuff with a brush on many, many, many occasions. Um, and I still do use the brush very regularly. For stuff like outside line weights, for sure. I don't always use it for rendering. Depends upon what the rendering is like in the pencils. Trying to figure out how I should do the weights on this. Yeah, Sandra Hope still inks with a brush pretty regularly from what I see her doing on Instagram. She's still awesome. Has been forever and ever now. So, No shocker there. Uh, I do not like that, he says. It's all right. I'm going to send that out later. Let's see. Remember once seeing a clip of Sandra inking the Andy Cooper? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was so jealous. I've always wanted to ink Andy Cooper. Like, damn it. But, you know, I wouldn't have done as good a job as Sandra. I'm not even going to pretend. So it's good that she got the gig because she just rocked it. Okay. This is the hard tip. Okay, good. This, uh, Jason, this is R.D. Brown, Riley Brown. Think he goes by I think he goes by RD Brown on Instagram. I've inked him a couple of times before on pieces that he's posted just because he posts pencils and I like them, and I'm gonna ink something when I do these. Um, yeah, I like Mark Pennington's work too, Roland. I agree with you. Yeah, Mark Pennington's awesome. I He was the art director that I worked under at CrossGen when I worked with them. Um, and I don't know. From what I heard, they were pretty happy with what I had done for them over there. I know I was very happy with the work, and it seemed like Mark understood what I was trying to do, and so did the penciler, and everybody was like, "Hey, go for it." And I'm like, "Cool." Yeah, Mark Pennington inked over Andy Kubert with a brush as well. I think Mark's a great brush inker. I think his brush inking's really good. Um, I don't ever remember seeing any, uh, stinkers from him. I'm sure he'd probably tell you there were, but none of them stand in my mind, so couldn't be too awful bad. I've really enjoyed the work that Pennington did with Bart Sears as well. Great inker. Many people hate Andy's loose and scratch style, especially during his time on the X Men. You know, it just depends on the inker. Some inkers have more drawing knowledge and ability than others. Somebody like Pennington, that's a Kubert School alumni, so he can draw, he can ink, he can letter, he can color. You know, those guys are trained to do everything. They teach those guys how to write. That's people think of that as an art school, but like they teach those guys how to write too, or at least they used to. I don't know, they still do. I wanted very badly. I think when I graduated from high school, 18, 19 years old, I wanted so bad to go to Cuban school, but man, New Jersey was just a world away, and my parents didn't have money, and yeah, so I had to figure it out. But I'm always envious of those guys that went there and graduated and got a really full, rock solid sort of education on how to make comics just as a whole. You wish high school only been like 19, 20 years ago. Well, 19, it just depends upon what it is in your mind. Hey, there's Melvin Mello. What's going on, man? How are you doing, sir? Uh, uh, uh. making sure we're catching up on the chat here. Saboteur Comics up there. Hey man, I didn't mean to overlook you. You jumped in and trying to multitask here. All right. I'm gonna get out the soft tip pen if I can find one. Hard tip. Hard tip. Do I hear a soft tip? There's a joke in there. I'm just not gonna go near it. Oh wait. Yeah. Oh, there we go. There's for sure one in here. Hunches. Trying to make a liar out of me. Damn it. This is just what people tune in for. Once you dig through your tool bag. Yeah, tool bag. Oh well. We're just gonna have to do without that brush pen. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. Okay. This is the pit pen brush. Yeah, I'm in the new studio with the new studio set up. This drawing board's a new drawing board. So, trying something different here today. How is the new digs? The new digs are, well, it's on the second floor. Um, and I'm really kind of old and fat for that shit. Uh, but hey, what I've been telling people is that my apartment comes with a free gym membership, like unlimited use of the Stairmaster. So uh, I've lived here about a month and a half so far. I'm still getting unpacked and stuff. I've lost about 12 pounds without even trying. Haven't done anything different except change locations, and now I have to climb stairs. That's it. So I'm like, well, that's better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. I'll take it. You know? Hey, my doctor's been bugging me about getting more exercise. So there, shut up already. But other than that, the location on the apartment's good. Um, it's a decent neighborhood. A bunch of tweakers around and bullshit like that. Um, so yeah, it's pretty quiet so far. It doesn't hurt anything that the complex right next door to where we're at, there's a cop that lives there. So, and the face of the building faces a nice major street with a lot of traffic. That's probably the worst part about it is traffic noise. We get some of that, but that's if I have to really look for stuff to complain about. For the most part, pretty good. Mark Domowitz, how are you, sir? Yeah, I don't have any years above me. Um, so, jeez, Mel, you've drawn two Iron Mans already. They've both been good. I don't. Okay, you do you, man. All right. Mel's trying to get me the definitive Iron Man. I'm like, dude, it looks good. This is just something that I'm just messing with, just building a portfolio. Um, and I put these things up for sale. Like when I get enough of them, I'll start selling them. Who knows? Maybe I'll do some sort of promotion to build the channel and start doing giveaways for subscribers. I got my thinking cap on about it. Do I have a website to look at my work? No, no. I do have a spot on DeviantArt that I haven't contributed to in a long time because I didn't like what that site turned into. And but other than that, I post on Instagram. You know, really, if you've followed Rob's channel for the last couple of years, you've probably seen most of the work that I've done in the last couple of years because I've been uh, interested and happy just working with Rob. So um, he seems happy working with me. So we get along, and I think that we've gotten the chance to do some stuff that was pretty good. I thought. Yeah, DVR did turn into trash, and just I don't know. It got to the point where I was just not happy about posting anything there anymore. Now I still go to that website almost every day, and I still follow people on that website, but I don't post there anymore. Yeah, I got to step up my social media again. You're right. You're right. I do. I should. People have been telling me for years. I'm like, well, I guess if I was actively seeking work or actively seeking commissions or something like that, then I might. But at this point, I consider myself to be mostly retired. And what you see me doing now is stuff that I'm doing because I'm into it. I'm having fun. Usually, you know. There are some things an inker is called upon to ink that are never fun to do. Crowd scenes come to mind. I used to work with a penciler that was really picky as hell about how the bushes were inked. Could not grasp the concept that no one but him gave a shit about the bushes. Oh, except the editor. He wanted the book done by the deadline, so I really wasn't that focused in on the shrubbery in the background. Sorry, I was trying to make your figures look good. But anyway, I digress, and we're not going to mention any names because that's long ago in the past. Why do crowd scenes suck? Just because, look, I've got a real issue, or at least I used to. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time inking stuff that no one's going to give a shit about. let's let's put it that way. No one's looking at the crowd scene. No one cares about the crowd scene. They're just people in the crowd. You know, it doesn't help that back then I was very, very slow at inking. Not that I'm any kind of a speed demon now, but I'm a little faster. Um, but yeah, comics really, in my opinion, unless you're actively getting work with the big two or something like that, or really crushing it with your indie stuff, most of the time it's just sort of a hobby. You know, when even guys like Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson have had trouble making their numbers that they want over the last 30 years or so, numbers that might have gotten them canceled or Marvel or DC at some point or another. I don't know. I don't track the sales. I'm just elaborating on what I heard. So there have been times in the last since the beginning that Spawn has not been such a hit seller. It's had a resurgence, thankfully. Um, and I am a huge fan of the Greg Capullo era of Spawn in particular. Not to take anything away from anybody else. You know, my old studio mate Will Spartasio was in their mix there and did some real nice issues. My old studio mate Will Spartasio was in their mix there and did some real nice issues too. So, but there's guys that you like, and then there's your favorite. And Capullo's run there was my favorite. When you do ink anything, you're very sloppy, too lazy for a clean inking style. It's a cat that's just your North Star. I've done that style. As a matter of fact, it's funny you mention. I've done that style, and I actually did that style um, in print. Hang on just a second. Let me get up and grab this thing. All right, sorry. Yeah, as chance would have it, of course, I say that and set it all up, but now I don't have that damn thing. Maybe it's over here in the stack of stuff. Yeah, here we go. I ran across this the other day. This is a card I did back in 1994 when Wildstorm was handling the Spawn set. The pencilers popped them on. I'm going to hold this up by here. I'm going to turn off this damn light so we get less glare. I don't know whether you can see it or not, but you could look at the rough line work there. I'm doing a lot of splatter stuff in white and things like that. Unlike most trading cards back at the beginning when I would ink that kind of stuff, I would spend about, I don't know, a couple of 3 hours on one of those trading cards. I inked that one in like a half an hour, 45 minutes, and was scared to death. The penciler specifically requested a Sienkiewicz J. Lee kind of look, and I gave him that, but it was so different from the Terry Austin sort of thing I was trying to do most of the time. Yeah, that is a Spawn card. I inked a couple of Spawn cards in there. I inked the Angela card over Jim Lee, and I also inked a bunch of cards over Popmon. That Medieval Spawn being one of them. There's a Billy Kincaid. I don't know. I don't know how to tell you to Google it. Yeah, it's out of the Spawn trading card set, and it's Medieval Spawn from about I don't. It had to be 94, 95. Probably more like 94. So I don't think Todd did that many trading card sets. So yeah, a ton of them are going to show up on Google. I don't even have a full set of those cards anymore. To be honest, no offense to anybody that was a fan of trading cards, but it really wasn't my jam. Pretty good way to make a couple bucks because they paid almost the same rate for trading cards that they did for full pages, and it would take you half the time. Yeah, yeah, it's so much faster. It's so much faster when you go with that looser style. But I'm working at Wildstorm in 1994. It's just not at all what anybody there wanted me to ink like. Like nobody was interested in having their pencil look like that, except that one guy that one time. You know. Yeah, it seemed like everything I would try at Wildstorm that was outside of the regular house style was mostly frowned on. So, like, if I wanted to try something, I kind of had to wait until somebody else did it. Richard Bennett would pull out this technique or that technique, and then they would let me try to do it like him, maybe, and I could get away with that. Or Alex would do something, some sort of technique, and I would imitate that, and they would be okay with that. But it was very limiting. I mean, I could have been bold. I could have struck out, but I just did not have the confidence at that time um, to just be bold and do what I wanted. Hmm. Nice day that comics they embrace individual styles, house styles. A kind of a bummer. I don't know. It depends. Do you have a vision? I know you do, but when I say you, I'm using the general you, artists as a whole. A lot of times, young artists think, "Gee, I really don't know what I want to do." So until I know what I'm going to do, I'm going to imitate this guy over here. Um, Hell, even Sienkiewicz did it. Cloned Neil Adams there for quite a long time before he finally just was like, okay, I'm done doing that, and went along to something else. This is how you kill a marker. But that's okay because I know how to refill these. Haha. Especially these real blunt brush tips that they give you that don't really give you a super sharp line anyway. I'll use that to block in blacks, things like that. What ink do I refill with? On one of these bad boys, generally what I will take is I will get some Kohinoor Universal Rapidograph ink, and you just get a pair of pliers, pull off this end cap right here, and then when you look inside, there's a little cylinder, a little plastic cylinder with like a sponge in there, and you take like one or two drops, just one or two, because if you do much more than that, it's gonna leak like a sieve, start dropping ink all over the place. It's no good for anybody. But a drop or two in the sponge will bring that pen back. And if it clogs for any reason, same idea. You pull that cap off, and a drop of any kind of window cleaner with ammonia in it will loosen that ink back up and get it flowing through your pen. I've kept pens like these going for years. This is a the Faber-Castell pit pen. This is the brush pit pen. Got like a let me see if I get it there where you guys can see like a belt kind of nib to it. Yeah. Anyway, it's got a point to it, but it's kind of a blunted point. It's real good for blocking in stuff like that. And as long as you can refill it, it's fine. If you're going through these, and yeah, I can refill all of them. You pull that end cap off of there and get yourself an eyedropper or get one of those little bottles of Kohinoor Universal and just one or two drops in there. No, the Kohinoor is for refilling. The carbon black are cartridges that I pop right into the things that take cartridges, like this one and this one, and they will fit the Pentel pocket brush as well. So for stuff like that, but if you're actually, I haven't refilled one of these things in forever. I don't mess with it anymore usually. But when I was inking regularly and cheap about supplies, because a lot of comic companies, they don't help you with that stuff. Jim Lee was always good about that. Any kind of supplies that you bought or anything like that, uh, you just bring the receipts. And they kick you a reimbursement. I had no idea at the time that I was working for him what a great boss Jim Lee was compared to. Yeah, I mean, I had some idea because Jim's at school, uh, but yeah, I didn't know how good I had it because it was my first gig. You talk to you about artists with their individual styles and being able to express themselves. I tell you what, man, in 1994, the only thing I wanted to do was be Terry Austin. I just wanted to ink like Terry Austin. That was my favorite inker. I emulated that. And that kept me employed for a good long time, too. So I tell you what, when Terry Austin was doing good, Terry Austin, there was nobody better than that guy. Yeah, the carbon black's pretty good stuff. Refillable technical pens. Yeah, you might try the pit pens. Um, those are pretty good. Huh? I don't know. I'm just telling you how I refilled it. Do I like the universal or ultra jaw Kohinoor? I really haven't. Kohinoor's Kohinoor, ultra jaw, universal, whatever they got. I usually don't. Like it's the same crap. Well, because at the end of the day, like when you're not working in a major city or something like that, you don't have access to the world's best art stores. When you run out of ink and you have to go down to your local Michaels or Hobby Lobby or some shit like that, you got to take what they got in stock and then get home and go back to work. You know, you sit there and moan and groan about them not having your brand of ink, but the editor's not going to give a shit. I got to tell you, Mark, I'm not an expert on these things. I just pick them up and run with them. Sounds like you're doing some looking around. You probably know more about them than I do. By the way, anybody that's got any questions on how to refill pit pens uh, and wants to see a video on that, I could show you. Um, but if I did, I'd just be ripping off what Walden Wong did several years ago because Walden Wong has already done the video tutorials on how to make that all work. And they're all over there on his YouTube channel to check out. Anything I would tell you would just be sort of duplicating what Walden's already done. Joining the fountain pen rabbit hole. The best fountain pen I've found so far um, is the Platinum Preppy. Platinum Preppy. You find them on Amazon. This one is the extra fine, the 02. Um, and I wind up using it a lot because it gives me a nice thin line every single time. It's real consistent about it. Um, and unlike a lot of pens, it's not so stiff that you feel like you're trying to draw with a nail. You know, best pen is the knob value fountain pen. It's got a flex tip for it. Huh. Well, I may have to check that out. I've used those pictograph pens before. As long as you don't care about variation in line weight, those work. I use those to ink backgrounds and use them for templates and circle templates and any kind of crap like that. You would use it for stuff like that. And $60 a pen? No, thank you. Nope. At $60 a pen, you don't make any money. That's like people are like, oh, you should try Blackwing pencils. They're awesome. They're like $35 a dozen or some shit. Like, dude, it's a pencil. I just refuse to believe that this graphite encased in wood, like so many other pieces of graphite encased in wood, is going to make all the difference. I'm sorry. I can't buy into that. And even if I did, man, you buy expensive supplies that cuts into your overhead when you're inking. Like back in the old days, you'd see guys like Terry Austin and like Bob Layton, guys like that using a lot of Zipatone and stuff like that. Well, that crap back in the 80s was about $5 a sheet. You might need more than one sheet to do your effects on a particular page. And then once you cut that out, it's all sort of scrap that you've got hanging out at your house and little pieces of plastic everywhere. A friggin' nightmare. And it's not very economical. So every time you see somebody do, like in the 80s, they do this great big Zipatone that's there, like, okay, well, they were probably getting paid $50 a page to ink to begin with, and then they blew about $20 worth of zip on it. It's like, I can't do that, man. That's cool. Yeah, I've heard about people, like Sandra Hope was using like a clutch pencil nib holder of some sort, and a lot of inkers were all over it, and they're getting them custom made from this one particular guy that they had to link to on Instagram. And it's like, but it was $60, $45 for a fucking pen holder. No, 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 thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. If it works for you, then it works for you. I won't criticize, but I'm just not a guy that's going to spend $65 on a fucking pen holder. I'm just not. Not going to do it. What can I say? I'm a cheap prick. Sorry. It's not a family show. Calm down. How long have I been? Oh, okay. A little over an hour. All right. Just marry a girl, get your free flights. Yeah, yeah, I need to get set up with that. I've been pretty satisfied with the digital tones that I've been able to get for the most part. Mm, right. One of those times where it's like, what do you do here? That's gonna require a French curve. Some of this gets a little lost, and helps if you guys can see it. Some of this stuff in here gets a little lost, and have to take the French curve in to do these vertical lines, probably. And of course, I don't have one out and handy. All right, that's okay. Other stuff I can work on before I get to that specific part. see at some point in the near future, we're gonna have to get out some real different stuff. I found while I was putting together my move, um, I found some layouts for a comic that I drew when I was like 19 or 20, something like that. They're real bad. They're real bad. At some point, we'll have to put it out and have a laugh. Mm. Um, let's see, what else did I have going on? Hang on a minute. I had something else I was going to break out. Yeah, I'll have to do a separate video about this sucker. But I picked up a new book this week. Uh, yeah, see, I'm gonna have to reframe the camera and everything else for that to look right. I'm zoomed in way too far for the setup. So, but we'll be doing that here sometime in the near future. We'll be looking at some of this stuff. Um, yeah. Has anybody had any of these vault editions before? I tend to stay away from books that aren't the like the IDW art edition, the official IDW, because like I bought one that was the Battlestar Galactica stuff by Simonson and Jansen, and I got it. It was from Dynamite, I think, printed it, or I don't know, maybe it wasn't them. I forget it was. Uh, but anyway, whoever it was that printed it, um, I loved the book. I loved it. I ordered it. I got it for a good price. I was really happy with it. And inside of a month, there's pages falling out of the damn thing because the binding wasn't holding them. And I'm like, so I kind of wonder uh, when I'm looking at this vault edition how good the binding is on this stuff. Just because I've had one fall apart on me. But yeah, it covers some of the early issues of Capullo where it's Mark Pennington inking him, and then there's some art to bear and Dan Panosian pages in here as well. And I'm trying to do the Where's Waldo and go, okay, which ones are arts and which ones are Dan's? I kind of got some guesses as to which one's which, just by little things they do here and there. Oh yeah, oh okay. Well, maybe somebody will see the video later on and let me know down in the comments how these things hold up. I got a pretty decent deal on this thing, and I was just like, especially I'll go over this in depth in another video, but yeah, you get to the back and it's issue 50 and it's inked by Danny Mickey, and there's lots of Capullo and McFarlane pages in here as well that are just great. So yeah. Anyway, I should probably wrap up this stream. You guys are only getting to see a little bit of it because it's zoomed in so damn close, and I don't know how to zoom it out while I'm midstream. So we're gonna have to save looking at that some more for another time. I do appreciate everybody stopping in, taking the time to watch me uh, ink a little bit. Um, but I think we're gonna wrap it up here, call it a night. So I'm gonna try and do this more now that I got the new studio and everything like that. Um, I might have to figure it out. All right. So, but anyway, we'll do what we got to do. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening to me, and I hope to see you again. All right. Have a good night.